Oh.
I regret nothing.
Welcome to Beyond the Bounds. It is about time I celebrated one of the games I have spent hours exploring, Oblivion. But we're not going to explore the realm of Tamriel by normal means, definitely not. In Oblivion, there is a lot you can do with the developer console, but we're just going to use it for the Center on Cell command. Center on Cell immediately places you and your character in whatever area you specify, and we can use this function to access test areas and prototype maps left in the game. Pop open the developer console with the tilde key and type in COC Hawkhaven, then press enter. Hawkhaven is its own self-contained town. It has townsfolk, it has a fully functional jail, and it has buildings. Not all of them can be entered, but the one you're probably going to be interested in can be. It is the testing hall, and as the name suggests, it is an area used for testing stuff in the game. So what we came here for are the Clutter warehouses, rooms that contain lots of items and stuff. Some of it very useful, some of it not so. But let's go through every door anyway. Door 1. Upper Class Clutter Warehouse. This room contains all of the clutter and objects designed to be featured inside any upper class building in the game. It is stylishly lit and contains rugs, display units, paintings, expensive furniture and pottery. There are also books here, all of which are the kind that would appear in upper class buildings. All posh books. You won't find the lusty Argonian maid in here. Door 2. Middle Class Clutter Warehouse. This is the same deal as before, but the clutter inside is intended for use in middle class buildings and areas. There is a distinct lack of quality in the goods, but they are still moderately stylish. The lighting is more generic than the upper class warehouse, and more akin to what you would find in a middle class building in the game. Lots of wine in here, oddly enough. Door 3. Lower Class Clutter Warehouse. As the name suggests, and following the precedent set by the past two rooms, the Lower Class Clutter Warehouse contains precisely that. Basic rugs, simple pottery, and only 3 dingy looking types of bed. Don't worry, the next few test cells are far more exciting. Door 4. Armor Warehouse. The Armor Warehouse contains all types of armor present in the game. Each armor set is laid out on its own table, and where applicable includes matching shield. Included is Daedric armor, which can usually only be worn by binding it with a magic spell. Here it can just be taken and worn. The beautiful Spellbreaker shield, which blocks magic attacks, can be taken honey sweet from a table in this room without having to complete the required Daedric quest. Do be warned, quest-specific equipment, like the Cowl of the Grey Wolf, will activate or further quests against your will, so save before picking anything up. Door 5. Clothing Warehouse. The Clothing Warehouse contains all clothing items in the game. This includes jewellery, so be extremely careful and save before picking anything up. For example, the Amulet of Kings cannot be worn or removed from your inventory once picked up, but the Emperor's robes, feel free to take those. By the nines, why shouldn't you be allowed to? Door 6. Weapons Warehouse. The 6th door leads to the Weapons Warehouse. This test cell contains all of the generally obtainable weapons. A number of test weapons cannot be obtained from this room, but can be obtained from another room a little later on. The weapons are organised by material as opposed to type. All glass weapons, all steel weapons, regardless of what they are. Included are all types of bow and 20 of each type of arrows. Wow, those ebony weapons look sweet. The test staff can be obtained from this cell, but it does nothing. It has no spell associated with it, and is therefore useless. An overall lack of staffs, but don't worry, there is a cell coming up soon where you can get any kind of staff. Door 7. Miscellaneous Clutter Warehouse. The Miscellaneous Clutter Warehouse does exactly what it says on the box. Scales, alchemy equipment, hourglass, fruit and vegetables, and cheese. You can also find a dismantled skeleton, lovely. The door in this room is fake, and you cannot return to the previous room by conventional means, requiring the use of the developer console to get out. Door 9, Lighting Warehouse. It's a room for testing different lighting type. Nothing of interest. Door 10, Book Warehouse. The Book Warehouse is actually based on a different base interior type. Inside is supposed to be one of each book, but I couldn't find the Mysterium Xarxis in there when I looked. These books can, when collected, trigger quests, so again I warn you to save before interacting with any books. There are floating books in this room. Nudging them or removing one book in the set will cause them to fall. Door 11, Activator Testing Warehouse. A room for testing activators. Things that do stuff when activated. Nothing much to it, a couple of gates and doors. Door 12, Container Testing Warehouse. A room for testing containers, things that have things in them, duh, like drawers or chests or crates or barrels, etc. There are 0 items of interest in here, and the room merely serves to test that containers work as designed. Door 13, Basement Test Set. Hope you love yourself some pitch blackness. You could probably cast light magic on yourself to see what's here, but I couldn't be bothered. You can explore this one yourselves, go nuts, go crazy. Door 14, Lockpick Warehouse. The Lockpick Warehouse contains locked doors and gates for you to lockpick, each varying in difficulty. However, the room doesn't contain any lockpicks, which is kind of an important part for testing the lockpicking feature. The door at the end can only be opened with an actual key, so you're stuck inside this room unless you use the console to unlock the door. Door 15, Alchemy Test Warehouse. This warehouse contains all the ingredients and tools needed to perform alchemy, including all of the more potent equipment you earn much later on. I never played around with alchemy much when playing the game, so I don't know what to say about this room, but hey, it's stuff for alchemy. Yeah, that's it. Door 16, Unnamed Cell. This is an unnamed cell, but perhaps the best of the lot. Instead of having a room full of clutter, it instead has containers that hold each item in the game. All the keys, all the books, all the clothes, all the weapons, all the soul gems and sigil stones. Literally everything you could ever want. Sometimes the game appears frozen, but when it is trying to open a container with, I'm assuming, over 500 items, you get the idea that it might be a little bit slow. Included are test items. Here we have books that test various features of the game. Some of them have a cheese wedge for an icon. Let's have a look at these test books while we're here. Daedric test. Yep, that book is in Daedric, I can't read it. Next is a handwriting test. I'm assuming this is a real note from the game, although the quest is not familiar to me. Test book has font tests, Daedric, handwriting, and this weird bolded text I can't imagine was ever used. Test book on monkeys is actually a cloned Commentaries on the Mysterium Xarxis book 2. Test fonts is a large book testing every font in the game. Test Todd letter, likely written by team member Todd Howard, reads, "This should be a short letter. Love, Todd." Obviously a test of the in-game scrolls. The next test scroll is likely from the main game, and tests that longer scrolls can exist in the game and work as intended. The last two are used to test formatting. One has the formatting text visible, while the other shows how the formatting appears when used. There should be an image here. There ain't though! One thing that humours me about this cell is that this box says ammo and weapons. Obviously the ammunition for the weapons are the arrows, but who refers to arrows as ammo or ammunition? Who does that? Nobody! The same thing happens in the test room for Skyrim. A few beta and cloned weapons appear in here, and my favourite test weapon, the Mace of Doom! It's proper good. Lots of items with broken names in the Clutter boxes. And the final box, Test Staff, that has every staff in the game, including all those you can potentially make by yourself. Door 33. Wow, it goes all the way up to door 33. That's a big leap. This is another unnamed cell, a rather sad and empty looking house with a sleeping man named Vamp Chow. The name will become apparent in a moment if it isn't already. In this room are two stones. One activates vampirism through the normal 3-day cycle, and the other adds immediate full vampirism. You're a vampire and you can eat a sleeping NPC. Obviously, a room made to test that vampirism functions as intended. Door 35, Object Avoidance Warehouse. A room with some tables, that's about it. Door 36, Path Grid Testing Warehouse. The same as the Object Avoidance Warehouse, but with a really spooky, oh my god, get it away from me, NPC who walks around. This and the previous room were clearly made to test the programming that allows NPCs to walk around without getting stuck inside or bashing into objects. Door 37, NPC Combat AI Warehouse. Nothing. Door 38, AI Testing Warehouse. Just some general non-player character behaviour tests. Walking around, interacting with objects, going to bed, talking, testing that NPCs can coexist and behave alongside as well as with each other. Door 39, Hall of Combat. Pitch black, has doors that lead to gardens full of monsters. You can explore that if you really want to, I'm not going to. Door 40, Lockpick Warehouse. Takes you back to the Lockpick Warehouse, but at the other end. There isn't much left to discuss in Hawkhaven, at least not that you can't find by yourself, so I'm going to show you one more place. Test GragTown is an area that can be accessed by typing in COC Rumour Tests. There is a bug in the Xbox 360 version that allows you to get here, which I will cover another time. There are only two things of actual genuine interest here. Another chance to get the Mace of Doom, and a house that contains every sigil stone in the game. As soon as you pick them up, you become over-encumbered. There is a reason why you might want every sigil stone in the game, but I'll save that for when I talk about the Xbox 360 version. There are also some more exterior test cells to explore, but that's something for another time. I mean, we've already been going at this for quite some time already. Even in GragTown there are some interesting things, like an inside-out Skingrad castle, a test version of Cloud Ruler Temple with bricked-up doors, and a miniature mountain. I'm on top of the world! There are still 9 other exterior test cells to look at, plus a heap of glitches in the Xbox 360 version I would love to talk your ears off about, plus Fallout 3's test area content and out-of-bounds clipping. Yeah, that's all coming. And if you like this video, click like or subscribe or whatever. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Beyond the Bounds, and we've been looking at merely two of the 11 exterior test cells inside of Oblivion.